सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओं. We are in chapter 13, Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogam in Bhagavad Gita. We have completed up to 20th sloka. We'll have a quick revision of 20th sloka and go forward. Up to 24th verse, Bhagavan dealt with all 6 topics which Arjuna wanted to know. The topics were Kshetram, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, Jneyam, Purushan, Prakriti. And thereafter, the verses 25th up to 27th, all 3 verses, Paramatma dealt Jnana Sadhanani, how to acquire Jnana, or 5-fold steps of acquiring Jnana. That is Karma, Upasana, Sravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. These are the 5 steps. By Karma we can have Mananivrutti. By Upasana we can have Vikshepanivrutti. By Sravanam Ajnana Nivrutti. By Mananam Sandeha Nivrutti. By Nididhyasanam Vasana Nivrutti. This is how you get yourself prepared to Jnana Yogyata and also get Jnana Nishtha. So, 28th onwards, Paramatma is elucidating the Jnana Phalani. What are the advantages of Jnana? So, here he said that Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinasyasya Vinasyantam Yapasyati Sapasyati. This particular sloka gives Samadarshanam, that is looking at the entire Srishti as Ishvara Srishti. This is the proper perspective. This is purely based on the teaching. The teaching being that the whole universe is a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. So, whatever you see, whatever you enjoy, whatever you experience is a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. So this vision is the right vision, a balanced vision. If only we are aware of both Prakriti and Purusha, then we can understand the Vyavahara properly, the transactional world correctly. If you are preoccupied with Prakriti, if you are totally immersed in Prakriti, you lose the sight of Purusha. If you are deeply involved in the transactional world, naturally you will forget about the higher nature. That is a problem. On the contrary, if you are going to be occupied with Purusha, you are going to lose the sight of Prakriti also. That is again a problem. You cannot transact with the Vyavahara, the transactional world. You cannot, in the transactional world, you cannot perform well. So a right balance is required. So the vision should be the entire creation, the entire world is a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. The human being is Prakriti and Purusha. All living beings are Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is Nirguna Nirvikara Satya Chetana Tattvam, and it will not be visible to the physical eye. but has to be appreciated through our understanding. Just as when I look at the fan, only one aspect of the fan is visible. That is, the fan is rotating and fan gives us air. But the other aspect, the invisible electric current is flowing in it. And that's why the fan is rotating. That second aspect, we lose sight of it. So here Paramatma wanted us to know, when you are transacting in this world, the Chetana Tattvam, which is invisible, which cannot be seen by Pancha Jnanendriyas, must be recognized in and through the Prakriti. So when I look at every living being, the eyes see only the physical aspect. Now, Shastra equip you with a Jnana Chakshu, which is called the third eye, the eye of wisdom. So with this eye, you can appreciate the Chetana Tattvam also. Therefore, this Chetana Tattvam is uniform. This Chetana Tattvam is one, Ekam Nityam Saram Satyam. There is no difference between you and the other living being in terms of the Chetana Tattvam, the reality. Therefore, there is no need of dvesham or krodham on any quarter. So you have to see that Parameshwara everywhere. Parameshwara represents Nirguna Nirvikara Satya Chetana Tattvam. So that Parameshwara yaha pashyati, whoever sees Parameshwara in this entire world, saha pashyati, he only has the real vision, the correct vision, the right vision that is prescribed by Shastra. So the entire world is changing. The bodies are changing. Bodies are subject to 6 modifications. In spite of that, you should see the Chetana Tattvam, which is in and through the Prakriti. The entire world as Prakriti and Purusha mixture, and you are Purusha, and Prakriti is only incidental. So this kind of vision is nothing but the vision of Shastra, which you are equipped by Shastra. So if you have this, then you get Samadarsanam, Sarvatra Samadarsanam. You can have that equality and equanimity. You will not entertain any kind of envy, any kind of dvesham, any kind of krodham. So you have only the compassion. So this is the first and foremost advantage Paramatma has mentioned in Sloka 28. So we will proceed to Sloka 29. Samam pasyan hi sarvatra samavasthitamishwaram nahi nastyatmanatmanam tato yati parangatim. He, samam pasyan, for uniformly seeing Ishwaram, the Lord. Samavasthitam sarvatra, who dwells everywhere alike. Nahi nasti atmanam atmana tataha yati parangatim. So, samavasthitam sarvatra, who dwells everywhere alike. Atmanam nahi nasti, he does not ruin himself. Atmana, by himself. Tataha, thereby, yati, attains. Parangatim, the supreme goal. Freedom from insecurity is moksha. Yaha sarvatra samavasthitam Ishwaram samam pasyan ki atma atmanam nahinasti. Saha tataha param gatim yati. For uniformly seeing the Lord who dwells everywhere alike, he does not ruin by himself. Thereby he attains the supreme goal. So the previous verse gave the first palam. The first palam is what? Right vision. Samyak darsanam. Which is very, very useful to have compassion. So once you have this samadarsanam, you will have compassion and you have that free space, the inner space you have to accommodate everything and everyone. Particular 29th verse, Paramatma is giving the second benefit of this jnana, which is amrutatva prapti, transcending mortality. Or immortality is the second benefit. Immortality, the moment we say immortality, you don't think that you will not die. The physical body perishes. That is the Prakriti Sutram. Nobody can stop it. But your real self is neither born nor will it die. So when you have that clear understanding that you are Chaitanya Tattvam, this body is only agantukam, instrumental. This body is only incidental. Therefore, it comes and goes. So that kind of attitude you develop. So you will not have fear of death. This is what we mean by immortality. So here, the word, you should understand very clearly. You take the Amrutatva Prapti, he will get by this kind of knowledge. Samam Pasyan, the wise person learns to have Samadarsanam in and through Vishamadarsanam. Though there is a difference and everything is vivid and varied, he sees all are equal in terms of Atma, in terms of Chaitanya Tattvam, which is required for transaction. The Vishamadarsanam is required for transaction. The transaction requires differences in the entire world, but in the back of the mind, you see that equality, samadarsanam. So you are very compassionate. You can accommodate anything. This samadarsanam doesn't mean that you can grab others' money and you can take everything granted. You cannot wear others' chappal after the class and all that. Nothing like that. When transaction is there, Vishamadarsanam is there. In the back of your mind, you should have the Samadarsanam. Because the moment you lose the sight of Samadarsanam, Prakriti will take over and it will frighten you. It is like a dream. The moment you lose the sight of the fact that you are lying down on the bed comfortably and you drown into the dream is capable of frightening you. The dream is capable of making you shiver. The moment you lose the sight of the screen in the movie, the characters become more real and they can make you cry. They can make you frightened. So, if you have that spruha of Purusha, spruha of Chaitanya Tattvam, which is your reality, you can enjoy the transactions. You will perform your transactions as it is required. But at the back of the mind, you understand this is a role play. So you are not glued with the transaction. You have that inner space. Therefore, samam pasyam sarvatra. In all the stages, in all conditions, what does he see? Samavasthitam Ishwaram. In all conditions, in all situations, he sees only Samavasthitam Ishwara. Ishvara means that Purusha, that Atma, which is equal in everything. It is not Ekarupa Ishvara. We have talked earlier. We said Parameshwara is Ekarupa Ishvara, Anekarupa Ishvara, Arupa Ishvara. Here when we say Samavasthitam Ishwaram, this Ishvara is not Ekarupa Ishvara, not your Ishtadaivam, not even Anekarupa Ishvara, but Arupa Ishvara, which is free from all attributes. Therefore, only Samam, which is same in everyone, same in everything, and Samavasthitam, which is very much present as the very Adhishtanam, the existence absolute, the support of Prakriti. Without Purusha, Prakriti is not there. Because Purusha alone is Satyam, Prakriti is Vidya. So, one who understands the Samavasthitam Ishwaram in everything and every one, every living being, then he will understand this is not perishing. This Chetana Tattvam is not perishing. This is not subject to any modification. Whereas the Prakriti is subject to all kinds of modifications. Prakriti changes. Take for example the body-mind-sense complex. The body-mind-sense complex is subject to modification, 6 modifications. Asti, Jayate, Vardhate, Vipanamate, Apakshiyate, Vinasyate. So all 6 modifications are possible for this body-mind-sense complex. So, Vinasyatsu, that's what we understood in earlier slokas. This is a decaying Prakriti. This is a body-mind-sense complex is subject to decay. Though it is asasvatam, in this asasvata shariram, there is a sasvata tattvam. That is Chetana tattvam, the Chaitanya tattvam, the Purusha, which is my reality. The same Purusha is there everywhere. That Purusha is Ekam. Ekam Satyam Saram. So that Purusha is Ekam, not Anekam. Prakriti is Anekam. So, when you understand this, you understand that Amrutatvam Yati. Param Gatim Yati. The sloka says, such a person who sees Samavasthitam Ishwaram, the Ishvara who is the indweller, who is alike everywhere, who can see this, who can have the darshan of this kind of Ishvara, who is alike, then he will achieve that Param Gatim Yati. He attains that highest goal of immortality, Amrutatva Prapti, Amrutatvam Yati. He attains immortality. Once again, you should understand this immortality doesn't mean that he will live this mortal body eternally. It is not so. Please don't be carried away with such a feeling. This mortal body will perish. It will drop when the time comes. When prarabdha is over, the body perishes. The body dies. So, it is not talked in terms of the body, which is a lower self. This sloka is talking in terms of your higher self, which is Chetana Tattvam. As a Chetana Tattvam, you are neither born nor will you die. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. This Purusha is neither born nor will he die. So if you understand that your Purusha, your real nature is Purusha, you can have that Samadarsanam and you can have that Amrutatva Prapti. You will not have fear of death, fear of mortality, fear of old age. So, if you do not understand this, you will destroy yourself. So that is what Paramatma is saying. So those who cannot understand this concept, they will kill themselves. That's what the sloka is mentioning here. So here we have to understand this in two ways. Shankara Bhagavad-pada explained this in two ways. If you don't understand and if you are attached, if you have this Prakriti Abhimana, if you think that your body, mind, sense complex, because of this ignorance, you will do lot of karmas. You are having lot of desires. To accomplish your desires, you do lot of karmas. When you do karmas, you acquire papam and punyam, and that will lead to samsara, and that will lead to punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So you are subject to birth-death cycle. You are the very reason for the death of your body. Because every time you take birth, and when prarabdha is over, you die as a body. So, taking birth and when prarabdha is over, you are dying. So, you are the reason for the death. You are identifying yourself with Prakriti. This is one reason Paramatma has given. The second reason Paramatma says, if you know as Atma, if you know yourself as Atma, you have no death. You are eternal. But because you ignore, because you are in that error, that I am body, mind, sense complex, that ajnanam is there, you lose that opportunity of enjoying the higher self, enjoying that amrutatvam, enjoying that Atyantika Ananda Avapti. You are losing that status. So, this is in a way killing your own self, higher self. So, this is how Shankara Bhagavad-pada has given the meaning of this particular sentence, na hinasti atmana. So, if you understand the tattvam, he will not kill the atma. A jnani does not destroy himself. Ajnani will destroy himself because he is born again and again, and he loses the sight of Atma, so he is losing that advantage of living happily. So, nahinasti atmana. So, he will not kill himself. This is what the sloka says. He will not kill himself means he will not destroy himself by ignoring Atma. He is always reveling in Atma. A jnani always revels in Atma, even though he is in and through the transactions. He will be performing transactions, but he will not lose the sight of Atma. Therefore, he will not destroy himself. This is what na hinastyatmanam atmanam. This is what the meaning of na hinasti atmana atmanam. This is the meaning of this sentence. So the second advantage of knowing jnanam is amrutatva prapti. Amrutatva prapti. Then we'll proceed to sloka number 30. Prakrutyaiva cha karmani kriyamādāni sarvasa yah pasyati tadatmanam akartaram sapasyati. Saha, he, yaha pasyati, who sees, karmani, all actions, kriyamādāni, as being done, prakrutya evacha, by prakriti alone, sarvasaha, by all means, tataha, and likewise he sees, atmanam, the self, akartaram, to be actionless, akartaram pasyati, he sees himself as akarta. Yahacha prakrutya eva karmani sarvasaha kriyamānāni santi iti pasyati. Tada atmanam akartaram pasyati saha pasyati. He who sees all actions as being done by prakriti alone, by all means, and likewise sees the self to be actionless. This is the third advantage of knowing the Shastra. The third advantage is akartrutvam. I am akarta. This is the third advantage. The third benefit of the knowledge is given here. We have seen already two benefits. The first benefit is sarvatra samadarsanam. The second benefit is amrutatva prapti. The third is akartrutva prapti. Discovering the fact that I am akarta. I am not the doer of any action here. This is very important because kartrutvam alone is the cause of all problems. If I own up an action, if I say I am doing this action, if I have that feeling that I am karta, that will earn agami. So I am earning agami. So more karmas in this janma. So that will add to my sanchitam and prarabdha. So the karmas will not end. That will lead me to next janma. In the next janma again I will do various actions and earn papa and punya if I have the manushya janma. In other janmas only bhoga sarirams. They only enjoy. They only undergo the karma phalam. They don't earn new karma. The advantage of human birth is you can get away from this birth-death cycle, or you can continue. If you do not know, you continue to be ignorant, you will accumulate more karma in terms of papam and punyam. And you will be oscillating between the lokas, all 14 lokas, depending on the prarabdha. So, this kartrutvam is the real root cause for punarapi jananam and punarapi maranam. So, the advantage of knowledge is as a karta, I will be doing all the actions. Then how can I say I am not karta? This is the question. So when you are doing action, you have to own up that you are karta, isn't it? How come Shastra says you are not a karta? Who is doing actions? Can Chaitanya do any action? Chaitanya cannot move, Chaitanya cannot do any action, Chaitanya cannot talk, Chaitanya cannot transact. So Chaitanya is only Sakshi Chaitanyam. It is only a witnessing consciousness. In its very presence, things are happening. So who is doing? Prakriti alone is doing all this. Prakriti is subject to modifications. When you want to do something, you have to have modifications. When I do a particular thing, lot of modifications are taking place. So, Prakriti alone is capable of doing the transactions, doing karmas. So, as a Chetana Tattvam, in my higher self, as Purusha, as Atma, I am not doing anything. I am a karta. Because as my higher self, I don't have the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. I don't have a mind to think. I don't have buddhi to think. I am free from body, mind, sense complex. When I am free from body, mind, sense complex, there is a question of doing any action. So, as a witnessing consciousness, in my higher self, I am not doing any action. So, all these actions are happening in my very presence as witnessing consciousness. Then who is doing all these actions? The Prakriti along with the reflected consciousness. That alone is doing all the actions. So, if you have to pin the kartrutvam you have to give it to the Prakriti along with a reflected consciousness. The pure consciousness, the witnessing consciousness, which is my real nature, is not a karta. So I am a karta. So when I am a karta, I don't earn punyam or papam. So when I don't earn punyam or papam, then I can be free from agami. Then sanchitam is burnt. The sanchita karma is burnt because of the jnanam, the atma jnanam. I don't have any sanchita karma. All the sanchita karma is burnt. Prarabdham anyway I will have to undergo. So once all three karmas are over, agami is not created, prarabdha is enjoyed, sanchitam is burnt. So after the fall of this body, there is no further janma. You have to get out of the cycle, birth, death cycle, you have to get out of this. So this is the only way to come out of this birth, death cycle. Akartrutvam is the method to come out of the birth, death cycle. I am a karta. How I am a karta? I am a karta as Chetana Tattvam. I am a karta as a witnessing consciousness. So, this is what he understood. And the same concept we have seen in 20th sloka of chapter 3. Tattvavittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayo. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. This is what we already explained. We have studied in chapter 3rd. A person wanted to take the advantage. So he did all kinds of crimes. He was given a rigorous imprisonment by the judge. Then he quoted this sloka before the judge and he said that, "Hey judge, I am that Atma Tattvam. I am a Karta. I did not do any action. But only Prakriti, the body, mind, sense complex, along with the reflected consciousness alone, is doing all this. So kindly spare me. I am a Karta. As a Karta, you cannot punish me." The judge said that, "I understand. I am not punishing your higher self. I am punishing your lower self, the body, mind, sense complex." That's what the judge said. So, as a body, mind, sense complex, we have to undergo all these things, all the good and bad we have to undergo, which is nothing but the prarabdha. But when you gel with the Chetana Tattvam, in spite of the problems, you can be free from your problems because you are the higher self. Even the toughest thing, whatever you are undergoing, is all role play. When you are playing a role of a beggar, let us say. So when you are playing the role of a beggar, you are really acting like a beggar, but in the back of your mind, you know that it is only acting. In the similar way, though the body pain and though the troubles are there, but in your mind, you know that you are the higher self. That gives you a great relief. That is a panacea. So that's a great medicine which can sustain you, which can give you a lot of courage to face the situation. So the third benefit is akartrutvam. The fourth and final benefit is brahmatvam. Yada bhuta prudak bhavam ekasthamanupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Yada, when anupasyati, one sees bhuta prudak bhavam, the diversity of being, ekastham, to be based on the oneself, cha vistaram, and their origination, tataha eva, to be from that self alone, tada, then sampadyate brahma, one becomes Brahma. Yada bhuta prudak bhavam ekastam cha tataha eva vistaram anupasyati tada Brahma sampadyate. When one sees the diversity of beings to be based on oneself and their origination to be from that self alone, then one becomes Brahma. This is the sloka which tells that everything, though it is vivid and varied, is born out of Brahma. In the entire diversity of beings and things, they are all sustained because of Brahman. They are all emerged from Brahma. So that Brahma you are that Brahma. So this is what we have to understand. The understanding of Atma has to grow through several stages. And to understand those stages, we first take an example of Akasha and space initially. So, if you take Akasha, it is easy to understand. So, first we understand there is a hall. We take this very room. In this very room, the space is there. Room space is there. So not only in this room, the other rooms are also having space. There are small halls, big halls, the vessels are there, space is there. In my stomach, space is there. So space is there everywhere. Okay. So now the next stage is, even though halls are many and varied, the space within them are many and varied, the space is same. The space is one. The space is within every hall. The halls are different, but the space is one. This is the next stage. Then the next stage is, I go through, not only there is one space inside all the halls, but there is a space outside the halls also. The space is not only within every hall, but outside the halls also, both inside and outside. Anta bahisya tat sarvam vyapya narayana stitaha. So, this is my next stage. Thereafter, I understand, in fact, all the halls are within the space. Why all halls? The entire Vishwam is within the space. So this is what I have to understand. Because of the space, they are able to sustain. The space is the support for the halls. So the space is the substratum, space is the very sthitikarakam. The space itself is the creator. Akasad Vayu, Vayu Ragni, Agni Rapaha. That's what Taittiriya says. From the very space, everything is generated. The entire Srishti has come out. So, this is what we have to understand. Now, looking at this entire Prakriti, looking at this Srishti, the Srishti is varied and different. Though the Srishti is varied and different, but within the variety of things, there is a Chaitanya Tattvam which is one. This Chaitanya Tattvam is not only in these living beings and things which are visible, but it is also outside. In fact, all the things are within this Chaitanya Tattvam. And this Chaitanya Tattvam is the very substratum. And this Chaitanya Tattvam is the very essence of the Prakriti. Without Chaitanya Tattvam, there is no Prakriti. Even Prakriti is emerged from Chaitanya Tattvam. Because Chaitanya Tattvam alone is Satyam, Prakriti is Midya. Prakriti gets resolved and it emerges from Chaitanya Tattvam. Chaitanya Tattvam alone is Satyam. Everything else is Midya. And that Chaitanya Tattvam is my real self. That means I am that Brahma, and which is Satyam. Everything else is Midya. So this is what I have to understand. So we have studied 4 different advantages in this particular class. The first advantage is Sarvatra Samadarsanam. By understanding my real nature, I can see equality and equanimity in everything. I can accommodate everything because in every being, my own self is there as Atma. My reality is present there as Atma, because Atma is Ekam, Nityam, Saram, Satyam. So I see myself in everything. I can have Sarvatra Samadarsanam. I can accommodate. I can view this entire world with compassion. Second advantage is Amrutatva Prapti. Because I am the Sasvata Tattvam as higher self, I am not subject to birth and death. Birth, death happens to the body-mind-sense complex. I am not the body-mind-sense complex. When I know this clearly, I don't have fear of death. I don't have fear of old age. This is the greatest advantage. And the third advantage is Akartrutvam. Akartrutvam means I am not the Karta as the witnessing consciousness. As a higher self, I am neither doing a thing nor I am the agent of any action. I am only the witnessing consciousness. As a witnessing consciousness, I don't take up any action. So all the actions are undergone by Prakriti and its reflected consciousness. So I am not Karta. When I am not Karta, I am not earning any Agami. When I know this Jnanam, when I have this Atma Jnanam, the Sanchitam is burnt, Agami is not created, Prarabdham is experienced. So I will not I will be free from the birth-death cycle. This is the greatest advantage. Akartrutvam is the third advantage. The fourth advantage is Brahmatvam, Brahmatva Prapti. Though this entire world is varied and vivid, it is a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. Everything is a mixture of Prakriti and Purusha. So without Prakriti and Purusha, nothing is there in this world. So I see this entire world as Prakriti and Purusha. And Prakriti is Vidya. And it comes and goes. The reality is Chetana Tattvam, which is myself. So as the Satya Tattvam, I can remain as Ekam, Nityam, Saram, Satyam. That means I am Brahma. So that Brahmatvam is achieved, that Purnatvam is achieved by knowing my own reality. So this is what we have learnt, and more advantages Paramatma is going to give us, which we will learn in the next class. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.